Hey, what's up? This is Scott with Level Up Tutorials, and in this video, I'm going to give you my first look at Gatsby.js. Now, Gatsby.js is a static site generator using GraphQL, React, and webpack. So what Gatsby does is it basically generates static HTML files as well as a JavaScript bundle so that your site can be both dynamic as well as static, where you first download the initial HTML file, you get really fast loads, and then for any additional information such as pulling in from an API, you still have access to all that React goodness. And the best part about this whole thing is it's generating static site files. So you're getting HTML files out of this and JavaScript that you can throw up anywhere. So it makes hosting it really easy. You don't have to worry about a database, obviously, because there's no backend to this. It also makes blog posts really easy because you just write everything in Markdown and then save it to a folder, and then you can access that data using a GraphQL query. So like I said, this is just a first look, not a full-on tutorial. This will be the first time I've downloaded Gatsby. It'll be the first time I've checked out the files and the first time I've read the docs. I just have a basic understanding of it. So this is me coming at this as totally someone who's never really seen this before, wanting to check it out. So let's get going right now. Okay, so in this video, what I wanted to do was talk about this new static site generator that just hit version 1 yesterday. In fact, if you go to their blog post, their blog section, you can see Gatsby announcing July 6th, 2017. So this thing is brand new. Well, at least it's brand new in terms of being a version 1. And so I wanted to basically just take a first look at this thing. You know, when this started making the rounds yesterday, I checked it out, I read the pages and stuff like that, but I haven't dove into it. I haven't installed it, I haven't tried it. So I figured a cool thing to do in this video would be to maybe give a first look at Gatsby, which is a static site generator for React. And this thing really flies, at least if you go by this page itself. For instance, if we refresh, you can see that was just super quick, right? Those load times are pretty darn amazing. Now, this is a cached version of the site, which is why it's loading so quickly, but even the non-cached version of this site loaded super quickly. So what's up with Gatsby? Well, it's a static site generator using React. And what exactly does that mean? Well, it basically spits out HTML files with a JavaScript bundle. So you're getting basically a flat HTML file on first load. That's all you're getting. And then the app uses JavaScript basically for the rest of the time you're using to navigate between pages, load new pages and stuff like that. But that initial first load is going to be super fast. Not to mention, because this is a static site, you can host this on GitHub pages. You can host this pretty much anywhere. You don't got to worry about a database. Now that said, what do you do for data in this thing? Well, if we scroll down, they have a nice little graph here that shows that the data sources come from posts, which are simply just Markdown, which we're going to show you a little bit of. Data coming in from JSON or YAML files, and then we have basic APIs. Right, so this expects you to bring your own API. So what this doesn't include is any sort of backend or API, stuff like that. But if you're building a blog or a static site, which, you know, this is a static site generator, then most everything's going to be in Markdown or React, which can make things very super easy. In fact, I've been thinking about redoing my personal website in Gatsby.js just to try it out. It's so fast. My site's already built in React, so it could basically do nothing but make my site faster. You can see here, you can deploy, self-host, static host, GitHub pages, any of this stuff. So check out Gatsby. What we're going to do here is we're going to install, we're going to check out the files, we're going to paw through it, and I'm going to be seeing this all for the first time myself. And I'm going to call out little features here and there, stuff that I've basically picked up just from reading this page, reading the docs, checking out the tutorial. So if we head to Get Started, basically it wants us to install Gatsby globally with this npm install g Gatsby. I'm cool with that, so I can just paste that in, install Gatsby globally on my machine. Now this assumes that you have Node installed and that you have a little bit of Node and React experience. If you don't, you can still follow along. things might be a little bit confusing. However, at the very least, you can start to see the benefits. So this is going to basically install a whole bunch of stuff that is the Gatsby CLI. Now, one thing you'll notice when browsing Gatsby's site is if you do head to their tutorial, I would just sort of skip this entirely. This basically gives you a little bit about Gatsby, but as you can see, it's a 4-parter, and there's only one part complete. And not only is that one part complete, this tutorial is actually pretty incomplete. For instance, there's a to-do in here. Let me find it, where it says to do, tell people to use the Gatsby CLI package once that's built. Now, I'd assume that package is already built because if you head to right here, it tells you to use the Gatsby CLI. So it seems like they need to rewrite their tutorials. That's cool. I totally get that. There's a lot of stuff here to go over anyways. So what we're going to do, see if this is all good. Okay, Gatsby's installed. I'm in my sites folder. You can run this Gatsby new Gatsby site. I'm just going to start copying and pasting this stuff because, like I said, I'm just exploring here. So we're going to generate a new Gatsby site. Then we're going to change directories into it. We're going to fire it up, and we're going to start exploring the files that came with Gatsby. And like I said, keep in mind this is the first time that I've done any of this. So I'm seeing this all for the first time just like you are. You'll get my initial impressions. You'll get sort of my initial views on what this looks like and maybe the viability of it all. It seems like it's a really nice static site generator. And keep in mind, not every site needs to be more than a static site generator. I mean, if you're building a personal blog for yourself and you're technical, editing markdown files is no big deal. Now, I might not ask a client to edit markdown files, but who knows depending on the client or the project. And if it's a pure static site, you get to still use your React tools and you get to still have all of the coolness of React and its functionality inside a static site generator. Okay, so let's change directories into Gatsby site, and let's now, I think the command is just Gatsby develop, which is going to fire up a local host at port 8000. Let's see what this does. Give me some success. Okay, bootstrap finished. Took just a little over a second. Okay, gives me some issues about factories, no big deal. And it successfully compiled. Took just over 2 seconds, and my site is running at localhost port 8000, and I have a GraphQL debugger running at port 8000 __ GraphQL. Now, I didn't mention this, but this whole thing uses GraphQL to basically manage your data, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. If you've ever used GraphQL, you can see here that we can test out our queries and everything directly in here. I'm not going to get into the bones of that right now because this is just an introduction, but as you can see here, by default, we have this Gatsby header. Hi people, welcome to our new Gatsby site. Time to build something, go to page 2, back to home page. Awesome. So as you can see, we already have some basic routing. Nothing crazy at all here, but I mean, you can see how fast this is, right? I mean, it's not doing anything. It's just swapping out some HTML here and there, but it's very fast. And I guess that's what you could come to expect from something using React in this kind of capacity, no data, static HTML, really nice. So let's go, and I'm going to go to my sites directory. I'm going to open this up in VS Code so we can see this a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, so check it out. This is Gatsby. Let's look at what we have here. You can see we have a basic license file. You may want to take a look at this. Yeah, just read through the license to make sure you know what you're signing up for. I'll do that later. We have our package file, which is just a standard node package file, and we have our typography package, React typography, Gatsby plugin, React Helmet. Okay, so we're using React Helmet, although there is this Gatsby plugin business here, which I don't know too much about. I'll have to dive into that a little bit more, like why not just use React Helmet? But I'm sure that has to do with how it's interacting with the static site generation. Now we have Gatsby Link, which is a way to link between pages, and we just simply have Gatsby. So check it out. We also have a README telling you a little bit about it. And we have a yarn lock file for those of you who use yarn. We have Gatsby Config, which is obviously something that is going to allow for configuration of your site overall. We see we have a title for the metadata, Gatsby default starter. Let me see if I can change that to just say level up, first look. See if we get some live reloading going on here. We should get that, but I don't know if it's going to change the page title. Yeah, it looks like this didn't change the page title, so I'm not quite sure if you need to restart the server for something like this to take an effect. It's very possible because it's a config file and not like a site file. Okay, so we have a cache folder, which is probably something you're not going to touch, a known modules folder, we have a public folder, and an SRC folder. Our public folder basically contains a static folder as well as an index.html, which looks like it's something that we might not want to touch because it's minified here. Okay, so let's head into our SRC file or source folder where we have an html.js, which you can see is basically grabbing our styles. We have our main HTML tags, our meta content. We're using some typography element here, and then you can see this props.post body components. Now, if we head down into pages, you can see we have two pages, index.js, where we can change this to high level up. Head to our page. You can see we do have some live reloading. Like I said, that must have been the config for the page title stuff, but that was very fast, right? Check it out. Live level ups, save, tab back. I almost beat it, right? That was really close. And we have page2.js right here. Now, what I would assume here is that it basically grabs your page files from inside of here. Let's go ahead and make a new file here. I'm going to copy page2.js. Let's make a new file. No, I do not want the title to be that. Let's just say new page.js and paste this in here. Let's say, it's interesting here that, okay, this is page 2, but the component name is index, where the component name is index here. It's the kind of thing I like to do. I like to dive in without reading a ton of the docs here. So if we head to their docs, adding, let's see, building with components. And now here they have page generation, and they're about pages, about page extends component. So I'm not quite sure why both their page 1 and page 2 are both index. That could just be an issue, or it could be something more. Obviously something I want to dive into a little bit more. For now, let's actually leave page new page as index, and we're going to say new page. And I'm just noticing that these file titles are probably getting their name, or the path is probably getting its name from the file title. So let's change this to new hyphen page. Okay. And you might be annoyed that I'm not reading the docs here. I'm just sort of plying through this sort of uneducatedly, but this is a great way to learn stuff because it can sort of smash your assumptions about things, and then you head to the docs, sort of adjust your assumptions about things, or you can obviously paw through the docs, read them through and through, and know exactly what you're getting into. Both of which are things I would suggest to do, but sometimes it's fun to just play around with something for the first time. Okay, so on index, let's add a new link here. And from page 2, let's go ahead and have this just be new page. And we're going to see if this works. Like I said, totally freestyling this based on a lot of assumptions here. Okay, go to new page. So we're going to link to this new page, and hopefully it's just going to find new page. So let's head back to our Gatsby site. We can click go to new page, and it found our new page. That's great. That's exactly what I was expecting to happen. So basically the way this is working is it's looking inside of your pages, it's finding this page, and it's assuming that the title of this page is going to be new page. Now let's actually try something here. Like I said, I was sort of weirded out the fact that this component was named index, even though it was the page 2. So let's change this to new page extends React component. And let's see if this breaks stuff. Doesn't break anything. Back to home page, go to new page. Cool, so I might want some clarification on that, why, in fact, If you know why this page 2 has a class of index, other than maybe it's just it's something that needs to be updated. Either way, naming this new page or index didn't seem to mind. So let's talk about some other stuff here. As you can see, we have layout components where you can make a layout. In fact, there should already be one in there where we have an index. So the layout here contains the header. You can see we have our Gatsby text here. We can change this to level up, right? Because every word I delete has to become level up. And you can see here, changed our heading. This will take us back to the home page, but this is a nice layout. I would obviously want to dive into a little bit more. Like I said, not a full-fledged tutorial, just a first look here. We also have page templates. So basically we have layout components, page generation. Let's look at what we can have with some posts, because there's supposed to be a really nice way of having posts in here. I don't know if this is based on default. We have pages, you could see some utilities, some layouts. Now here it says, you may have noticed that source/pages/posts contains markdown files. Source, pages, no posts. So again, maybe head over to their GitHub if this is live and submit a pull request to change this line or something. But as you can see here, there are no pages or posts within this CLI version, which is cool. If we head to the React examples directory, oh, and this link is broken. Okay, this is just another thing. There's going to be things like this. This is brand new. Again, might want to submit a pull request or something like that. Let's see if this GitHub link works. It does. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll when I'm finished with this video, I'll contribute some stuff just to clean up these docs a little bit. But as you can see here, there is an examples folder, which we can head to here. And it looks like you can use this with Drupal. You can use this with other stuff to pull in your data, using with WordPress. That's pretty cool. I don't know to the extent of which any of this stuff actually works or how it works. So like I said, I don't have to dive into it a little bit. You can use it with Redux. I just want to see maybe like a basic posts example. So this is using a RSS feed plugin. Client only paths. Let's see if this is good. Let's see, we have some pages. No, okay. I'm gonna look for an example, or I'll just paw through the docs for a little bit when I'm done with this video to basically figure out how we can both get our posts and display them. I'm sure this page template section where it looks like it queries the GraphQL schema from a markdown data and then renders the page using this data. So I would assume blog post template here is going to be the key to this all in terms of pulling in your markdown files. But as you can see here from the top of this building components page, you can see that we do have a file directory where you have something like posts and then a date and then an index.markdown, and it's going to be able to pull in that data and you're going to have full access to that. Like I said, this is not a full-on tutorial here. I'm going to spend some time really diving into this and potentially bring on a full tutorial on this thing. Either way, so far so good. If you're looking to have a static site that's blazingly fast and can be hosted anywhere, generated, pushed to HTML, whatever, this thing looks like a really nice alternative. And the best part is it gives you config files, it gives you code to edit if you like to edit code, and it overall gives you some options. So check out Gatsby. I'm going to, like I said, play around with it, maybe submit some pull requests on this documentation to maybe make things a little bit more clear, but that's obviously to be expected with new stuff. You know, not everything is easy to find, especially when there's this many pages. So head to Gatsby.js.org. Get this thing installed and play around with it. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested in hearing people's opinions about when they might use this or if they want to use this. I personally have a whole bunch of ideas floating around right now about when and where and why I would use this. So like I said, let me know what you think. Test it out. Share me repos of stuff you've built with Gatsby. If you've built anything cool, I'd love to see that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.